Welcome, grade 10s. Today we'll be doing cell division mitosis. It's a girl, Amahle. I'll be working with my colleague, Una. We'll be posting videos we'll be posting on the same channel. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification button so you can get new videos when we upload them. We'll try by all means to upload every week. As I said, we'll be doing mitosis. So we'll first define what mitosis is. Mitosis is the division of the somatic cells which results in growth. It is the division of somatic cells which results in growth. It is important for you to know the definition, as they might ask you, or it might appear on your multiple choice questions, or that question I think is 1.2 or 3 if I'm not mistaken. The one that says choose A only, B only, A and B or none. You see that question? It's very important for you to know the definition. They might try and confuse you with meiosis, but you're doing grade 10. You know that you've never seen meiosis. You didn't study about meiosis. I'm even sure your teachers didn't say anything about meiosis. So don't be confused and choose meiosis. So let's continue. So the humans or the human beings, they have 46 chromosomes, or you can say 23 pairs of chromosomes. There are two types of cells in the human body. There are somatic cells, which are also referred or known as body cells. And there are also sex cells, which are also known or referred as gametes. So the females, the female gamete is an ovum, or you can say an egg, but to be more biologically, you can say it's an ovum. And then males, they have sperms or spermatozoids. So I'm going to show you a diagram of the somatic cells. This is the somatic cells. As you can see, this one is for males, this one is for females. I said there are 23 pairs, so you can say 1 to 23, and if you multiply them by 2, you're going to get 46, which humans have 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs of chromosomes. So one important thing that you should know is that males, they have on their sex cells the 23rd pair of chromosomes. We call them the sex cells or the gametes. In males, they have XY, or you can say the paternal to be more biological. So you should talk like a biology student. You see, in females, they have XS on their gametes or their sex cells. During mitosis, a mother cell divides to form two identical daughter cells. That is the aim of mitosis, to form two identical daughter cells. One important thing that you should know is that those daughter cells, they are identical to each other, and they are also identical to the mother cell. Two chemical compounds that make up a chromosome. So a chromosome is made up of two chemical compounds, which is a DNA and a proteins. So in DNA, you know that DNA, it contains genes, and genes, they determine your characteristics, your hair color, your skin color, your height, your eye color, so many things. Those things, the genes, they determine your physical characteristics, your phenotype. So we're going to look at the diagram of the chromosome. It is very, very, very important for you to know the structure of the chromosome, be able to draw it, and also be able to label it. A chromosome, it is made up of two centromeres. And also those centromeres are joined by something that you call, a chromosome, it is made up of two chromatids. And those chromatids are joined by what we call a centromere. So it is very important for you to know. It's a very easy diagram, and it's very important for you to know how to draw and label it. Two chromatids, and it is joined by a centromere. So you should know the function of the centromere. But just by looking at the diagram, you can see the function of the centromere. It joins two chromatids together. It's like this, and these are the chromatids, and this part is what we call a centromere. It joins the two chromatids together. Then we have, in our mitosis cycle, we have what we call the cell cycle. The cell cycle is divided into two phases. We have the interphase, and we also have the mitosis. Many learners often confuse the two things. They think that interphase falls under mitosis, which is so untrue. That's not true, guys. That's not true. Interphase is a phase in the cell cycle. It does not fall under mitosis. Mitosis starts in the prophase, not in the interphase. So there are two phases in the cell cycle, which is the interphase and the mitosis. And then under mitosis, that's where we have the prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. For you, when I was doing grade 10, I used to say IPMAT. 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 That was easy for me to identify all the phases in their the way they occur. Like from the first one, IP for interphase, P prophase, M metaphase, A anaphase, and T telophase. IPMAT. You should know that. It makes it easy for you to understand how the phases actually occur. So now we're going to look at the first phase, which is not part of mitosis, but is part of the cell cycle. It's one of the phases of the cell cycle. So, which is interphase. In the interphase, you should know how to draw the cell for the interphase, and also you should know what is happening in the interphase. In an exam, they might actually give you a diagram of the interphase, and then they'll be like, label the structure. You should know how to label it, or they can say draw a phase which is before prophase. You know it's interphase. So on the interphase, the chromosomes are visible as the chromatin network. As you can see, those red lines just going around, those are chromatin networks. I hope you know that from your plant cells. You know that in the nucleus we have chromatin network. Chromosomes are not yet made, but we still have chromatin network. And one important thing that is happening on the interphase that you guys should know is that in the interphase there is DNA replication taking place. That is very, very important. You should know that on interphase, DNA replication is taking place. So you should know the labels. You can label centrosome, the nucleus, the chromatin network or the chromatin thread, and the nucleolus. You can even label these and say it's the nucleolus. It's the nuclear membrane, I mean. So moving to the next phase, now we are getting into mitosis. Interphase was not part of mitosis, but it was part of the cell cycle. Now we are moving on to the second phase of cell cycle, which is mitosis, which is divided into prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Now we're moving on to prophase. So in the prophase, it is important for you to know how to draw the prophase diagram and also how to label it and know what is happening on the prophase. So on the prophase, the centriole separates and moves to the opposite poles. These are the centriole. Centriole is at the poles. Centriole poles. So it separates and moves into opposite poles. The nuclear membrane disappears. As you can see, those dotted lines, they are trying to show you that the nuclear membrane is starting to disappear. The nucleolus is also disappearing. As you can see on this diagram, we no longer have the nucleus because it has already disappeared. The spindle fibers form between the two centrioles. The spindle fibers are those broken lines that you see around here. They are starting to form on the prophase. Remember, on the interphase we didn't have them, but here they are starting to form. And moving on to the next mitosis phase, which is the metaphase. On the metaphase, the chromosomes arrange themselves in the equator. As you can see here, they are at the equator. If you're doing geography, you know what equator is. It's that line that separates the Earth into two equal parts, to make it more simple for you. So the chromosomes, they arrange themselves in the equator. Each centromere attaches itself to a single spindle fiber. On the prophase, we did mention that the spindle fibers are starting to form. So now on the metaphase, they've already formed, and a single chromosome, it attaches itself to a single spindle fiber. You should know that. When drawing the diagram, make sure that a single chromosome is attaching itself to a single spindle fiber and they are in an equator. You can draw them like this as they are illustrated in this diagram, or you can make them to be like this. It doesn't matter as long as they are at the equator. Moving on to the next phase, which is the anaphase. In the anaphase, the two chromatids separate from each other and move through the opposite poles. As you can see here, this was the chromosome, but now the chromatids have separated and moved to opposite poles, forming chromatids. This chromosome has separated. As I mentioned before, that a chromosome, it is made up of two chromatids. So now those two chromatids are starting to separate, forming what? Two chromatids. The chromosome is now starting to separate, forming two chromatids. It's now moving. The chromatids are now moving at opposite poles of the equator. And another important phase that is taking place on the anaphase is what you call, or what is known as, cytokinesis. Cytokinesis is the division of the cytoplasm, and it takes place on the anaphase. Remember, we had two phases which are important. I did mention DNA replication taking place on the interphase. Now I'm mentioning cytokinesis taking place on the anaphase. Cytokinesis is dividing, it's a division of the cytoplasm. Remember why we are having mitosis. We are trying to form those two identical daughter cells. Those two identical daughter cells that are also identical to the mother cell. So now we have to divide the cytoplasm in order for us to have two daughter cells. As you can see here, now the two daughter cells are forming. This is our telophase. This is the early telophase because the two daughter cells are not completely separated, they are still like this. And we call this invigilation or the cleavage. It's not important for you to know this by now because you're still in grade 10, but for your own information, yes, this is what we call a cleavage or invigilation. So because the cytoplasm has separated through the process known as cytokinesis, now we have two identical daughter cells. It's very important for you to mention that the daughter cells are identical. They are identical to each other and they're also identical to the mother cell. So in the telophase, cytokinesis is now complete and two daughter cells are formed. That's what you have to know about telophase. You should know how to draw this diagram and also know how to label them. And also know how to arrange them. They can just give you all of them and then they say arrange them. You should know. As I told you, ip-met. If you can know that thing, you can cram it, or it's just something easy. Ip-met, you know, interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. It's very easy, guys. It's very easy. Mitosis, that way you can just collect all the marks. It's very easy for you to get all the marks. Now, one important thing, which is very important for you to know, the role of mitosis. Why are we having mitosis? They can ask you this question. It is important for three things. It's for growth. It is important for growth. It repairs damaged tissues, and also for asexual reproduction. I can give you an example on the repair of damaged tissues. If you're having a scar, let's say you just get a cut. After some few days, even if you didn't go to the doctor or anything, you will see that cut closing. Have you ever asked yourself what causes that? It's mitosis. Can you guys see how lovely, how nice biology is? That is because of mitosis. You didn't go to the doctor, but your scar is closing. It's repairing those damaged tissues. That's mitosis. So, guys, this is very easy. This chapter is very easy. I'm sure your teachers have already taught you, and now I'm just doing revision on what your teachers have taught you and making things simpler and just adding a cherry on top of the cake. So, you should know the roles of mitosis. So, thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. As I mentioned before, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification button. It's your girl Amahle, and I'm working with my colleague Una So watch his videos too. We'll be uploading on the same channel. See you next time. As I promise, we'll try by all means to upload videos every week.